Good afternoon, everyone. This is the post-launch news conference for the Landsat Data Continuity Mission, launched this morning on an Atlas V rocket, and here to talk about the success of this launch and this spacecraft on the way to its low Earth orbit destination are Ken Schwier, the LDCM project manager from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, Michael Luther, the Deputy Associate Administrator for Programs for the NASA Science Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters, Michael Freilich, the Director of NASA's Earth Science Division, Ann Castle, the Assistant Secretary for Water and Science for the U.S. Department of the Interior, and Marcia McNutt, the Director for the U.S. Geological Survey. And we'll begin first with the LDCM Project Manager and Ken Schwier. Ken?
Thank you, George. Oh, what a glorious day. Can't tell I'm happy and proud, huh? Just a few minutes ago, I got done speaking with my mission ops team back in Greenbelt, Maryland. The satellite is doing great. We separated from the launch vehicle like 79 minutes after liftoff. A few minutes after that, we already had ground contact with the satellite. And a few minutes after that, our solar array already deployed and we were power positive. And once you're power positive with the array out, you have a lot of options to work anything that could come up. So it's in the best hands right now. It's in my mission operations teams that have trained for a long time, and they're doing a great job, and I'm so proud of them. On behalf of NASA, the Department of Interior, and USGS, I want to thank the KSC Launch Services Program in ULA. They have once again put us exactly where we want to be, on a smooth ride, a beautiful launch, on a clear day. They don't make the weather, but it was a clear day. I spoke with a lot of our guests who were at the viewing sites. We have over 1,000 guests that registered out here to watch the LDCM launch. They said the skies were beautiful and the launch was even better. Our mission is now in orbit. So many people have worked such a long time to make this happen. And the organization I want to put extreme thanks out to is the Orbital Corporation for the satellite effort they've put in over the last year. It was really unparalleled in my career. They're great professionals, great to work with. They accommodate all organizations, and they made this happen. One awesome note for my mission manager, who's running everything back at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, it's her birthday today. And I told her she's never going to get a bigger candle than this. So in closing, I don't have to say go anymore. I can say thank you, Atlas, thank you, Centaur, and for our LDCM mission, may be a long and successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And now to Michael Luther, the Deputy Associate Administrator for Programs for the NASA Science Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters. Mike?
Thanks, George. I'd just like to say that from the standpoint of headquarters contribution to this, I want to say a special thanks to our other government partner, the Department of Interior and the U.S. Geological Survey. I was there when we were formulating this program, and it was a difficult task working with the administration to figure out exactly what the right structure of this program should be, and we all pulled together and finally got it kicked off. Put together the team that Ken leads and has led here to this point. And so it's a pleasure to see the success on such a beautiful day and a beautiful launch. I want to take just 1 minute and say that almost all of our space programs are difficult. They have challenges of all sorts. This one had its share and then some. And I think it's worth acknowledging the role that Ken played in the leadership of the team that included OSC, the instrument providers, Ball, and Goddard Space Flight Center, and of course the integration with KSC and ULA and the launch vehicle. But in order to get here, just note that team worked basically a 24/7 schedule for about 5 months prior to delivery of the spacecraft for integration to the launch vehicle. That's not our normal schedule, I can promise you that, but they were superhuman in doing so. And so it's a pleasure, and it should be very rewarding for them to see what happened today. I'll just add quickly that this satellite will join more than 65 other satellites that have been developed by the Science Mission Directorate, and as we cover our entire solar system and beyond to advance the state of scientific knowledge. And I know that the huge international community out there is breathing a sigh of relief after seeing a beautiful launch that uses Landsat type measurements. So thank you. And George, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And now to Michael Freilich, the Director for NASA's Earth Science Division. Mike?
Thanks very much, George, and good afternoon. I mean, good afternoon. This has just been fantastic. I was thinking that I would tell you stories about what actually happened this morning, engineering problem after engineering problem, getting to the end of the launch window, just getting off on time. None of that would be true. It was smooth and a spectacular launch, as you saw from our ULA partners. Again, I can't say enough for the entire team that Ken Schwer has put together and led so ably. Our partners in the federal government, USGS, and the Department of Interior, the private industry partners, Ball and Orbital Sciences Corporation, and the whole NASA team that put this tremendous mission together. LDCM really is a tremendous mission in the sense that it's not only going to be continuing the longest consistently processed record from space that humanity has of the Earth, but it's going to be making improved measurements over time. And those improvements and that long time series is really going to give us new insights as to how the environment is changing and how it will be impacting humankind. Mike Luther mentioned that that the international community is extremely happy today, and well they are. Thanks to the free and open data exchange policy that USGS and the Department of Interior have instituted for Landsat data, everyone around the world has the opportunity to benefit from the investment that our nation is making in understanding the Earth. Last year alone, Landsat data were downloaded by 189 separate countries. I don't mean data were taken over 189 separate countries. I mean 189 separate countries actually had groups that used the measurements. This is global impact that helps humanity and is directly the result of our national policies where we are helping the world. So I can't be, frankly, happier than I am today. And thanks again.
Thanks, Michael. And now to our partners in this mission. First, from Ann Castle, who's the Assistant Secretary for Water and Science from the U.S. Department of the Interior. Ann?
Well, thank you, George. On behalf of the Department of the Interior, we are also thrilled about today's launch and about the partnership that we have with NASA that has resulted in this longest continuous series of Earth-observing satellites. It couldn't be a better partnership, really. And the Department of the Interior is both the partner with NASA in the design and construction and launch and operation of the Landsat program, but we're also one of the primary users. We have 12 different bureaus, each of which uses Landsat data in our responsibilities to manage the public lands. And so I think that gives us a unique insight. We see this Landsat program as transformative. It's like when television first brought images of the Vietnam War into our living rooms. That changed the way we thought about combat and our place in the world. When deep space telescopes showed us pictures of stars and planets that we hadn't seen before, that changed our state of knowledge and allowed us to see back to the beginning of the universe. That's the kind of transformative power that Landsat has had. We can see changes in the Earth's surface over time. We can see changes in the course of rivers and the marks left by wildfire. That has been transformative in our understanding of climate change and of the impacts of humanity on our Earth. The free data policy has also been transformative in that we now have all over the world, as Mike Freilich said, 189 different countries using Landsat data. All those scientists, all those researchers are working from a common record. And that gives us the ability to leverage our knowledge and to make more progress in our scientific understanding of natural resources. So it's a very proud, very happy day for us. I was listening to a lot of people who have experience with these launches, and every single one of them said they've never seen a more flawless launch. So it's a beautiful day outside, and it's a beautiful day in the operation of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Now to Marcia McNutt, the director of the U.S. Geological Survey. Marcia?
Thank you, George. Well, we are all citizens of planet Earth, and as such, we all are dependent on this planet for services it provides us in terms of clean air, clean water, and other services such as raw materials, food, timber, energy, that all occur on such scales that are so much larger than us that we have few ways of understanding the way that we are changing the ability of this planet to provide the very services that we need for our survival. And Landsat is the one monitoring system that for the last 40 years has provided every citizen of planet Earth the scale and the resolution to observe for himself or herself the changes in the ability of this planet to provide for each and every one of us those services that we require. And I'm happy to say that thanks to that flawless launch today, the Landsat legacy will live on. And I want to thank every single person who is responsible for that today, to our colleagues at NASA, to Ball, to United Launch, to Orbital. For many of you, the hard work is now in the past, and you're going to stand down. For those of us at USGS, the real hard work is just beginning as we make sure that every single one of those Landsat scenes is going to be freely and openly available to every single person on this planet with access to the internet. Because it's really important that we all understand what it is that this planet, how it's changing, and what we're doing to it. Because although we consider Landsat to be a joint NASA-USGS mission, it's not really our satellite. It's the world's satellite. And we want to keep it that way. So thank you, everyone. Job well done.
Thank you, Marcia. And we're ready now to take questions. When you get the microphone, please be sure to give your name and your media affiliation, if you would. And let's see, we'll start over here in the front. Questions over here? Justin?
Justin Ray with spaceflightnow.com. I guess for Ken, could you talk a little bit about what's to come now that the spacecraft's in orbit? What are some of your milestones here in the next week or two?
Sure. We actually have what we call a 90-day commissioning period, and over the next week we're going to activate the spacecraft, and that's all the spacecraft subsystems, check it out, and make sure the spacecraft's healthy. After that, we turn our focus to the instruments, activating the instruments, and we do that over a couple weeks to make sure both the OLI and TIRS instruments are ready to go. And around day 38 or so, we're actually going to do an underfly. LDCM will do an underfly with Landsat 7. This is to make sure we can calibrate, validate the sensors. That's the quickest way for us to do that. It's not the only way, but it's the quickest way. After that, we go to our final orbit, which will be in the same orbit as Landsat 7, but 8 days behind Landsat 7. And then we start these 16-day clocks where we run a couple 16-day cycles to make sure we do a good job in covering the entire Earth's surface. And around L plus 100, we actually turn the LDCM mission over to USGS, and at that time it would be renamed Landsat 8.
Janine?
Just a quick follow-up. What is NASA's role then after the 100 days is over, at least for your team at Goddard?
After that, my team essentially pulls back, walks away, but the key areas associated with continuing this mission, like the orbital contract for the spacecraft and the contract with Ball Aerospace for OLI, those contracts are actually turned over to USGS to manage. And any kind of support that is needed from Goddard, either on the TIRS instrument or engineering support, we have interagency agreements to make sure that stays in place as long as they need it throughout the life of the mission.
Nora?
Nora Wallace, Santa Barbara News Press. With the improved technology on this mission, what is your expectation for the amount of downloads that you'll see in the coming years when you've already seen that amazing jump?
I think we expect to see the number of downloads accelerating. We've seen that happening ever since 2008. We went from, with the advent of the free data policy, we went from downloads of about 20,000 images per year to now over 3 million. But I don't think we've seen the end of that acceleration. With the additional sensors in the instrumentation on Landsat 8, one example is we're going to get better thermal data that will allow more precise management of water resources and better ability to forecast the availability of crop commodities. So I think we'll just continue to see more applications developed for the use of Landsat data with the new information available, and consequently more downloads.
In addition, Nora, I'd say even though we've had until recently both Landsat 5 and Landsat 7 up there, Landsat 7 has been the more popular because of the fact that it was a better instrument. However, Landsat 7 was experiencing a 22% data loss in every scene because of the sector line scanner corrector failure. Assuming that we have no problems with the checkout for Landsat 8, I'm expecting that users will instantly prefer Landsat 8 over Landsat 7 because of the data quality being entirely uncorrupted, and therefore we are going to see massive downloads for this data. Plus we're going to get 400 rather than 250 scenes per day, so that's going to increase the volume of downloads as well. So that's going to increase by 40% or so the amount of scenes available. So you can do the math as to what the demand's going to increase by there.
If I could add one additional thing to that. and that is the extension of the record from LDCM with accurate measurements and the free and open data exchange policy will allow more and more people to be analyzing this historic multi-decadal record for trends. You won't have to choose just one image here and one image there in time, but rather people all over the world can be analyzing quantitatively the slow trends amidst the rapid variation to understand where it is that this planet is going.
So, if we look at the history of downloads, they are event-driven. For example, things like Fukushima, the oil spill, the Haiti earthquake, all of these events tend to drive a lot of downloads too. So, we'll see.
Janine.
Janine Scully, Santa Maria Times, Lompoc Record. So the next milestone must be the first images from Landsat. How eager are you guys to see those images, and when exactly are you expecting to get just an early peek even at one?
Ken?
Yes, Ken. Ken, how quickly?
We plan to get an early peek as a team around day 30. And yes, a lot of people will be excited.
That's the next thing to be excited about.
Any additional questions here in the room? Yes, right here.
Roger Eckert, the Arcata Eye. Do you guys keep track of the general public's use versus the scientific use of the images that are available?
Well, what we can keep track of is, for example, how many downloads come from .edus versus .orgs, and to the extent that someone getting them from their Gmail account might be general public versus someone from academic might be a .edu, then yes. And so we've got pie charts that show how much is government use versus how much is academic versus an average citizen who might be looking at scenes, and we've got statistics that show some of that. Yeah.
Any further questions here in the room? All right. Have we got any questions at the other NASA field centers? All right, no questions at the other centers, so we'll go on now to Twitter, to the Twitter # Ask NASA. Not hearing any there. So in that event, a little bit about any further questions here in the room. All right, we're going to end the program with a replay of today's launch, and in addition to that, a somewhat longer scene of the deployment of the spacecraft from the camera that was on board the Centaur. It was truly spectacular video. So we'll close now with the video from the launch and then the LDCM deployment from the Centaur. And that will conclude our post-launch news conference. Thank you very much.
'25. Status check.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Go LDCM.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Have ignition and liftoff of the Atlas V rocket on the Landsat Data Continuity Mission, continuing the 40-year legacy of preserving Earth's natural resources from space.